Just,
I don't want to be on your podcast.
You don't want to be on my podcast?
No.
Man, you said,
I just fucking. I gotta charge you. What the fuck you talking about?
you want a fee? You want a fee? You want a fee to be on my podcast?
It ain't free.
I'm gonna just fucking turn the camera on and just put it in your face. When it's time for you to talk.
I'm sending legal action.
Just waiting for some.
I do not consent with you. I do not consent with you recording me. Therefore, if you do it, make sure you have your legal team ready.
Listen, man.
He's gonna sue you for the right. He's gonna sue you for the right. I did not sign off. All
right, yo, I'm gonna try to wait till this joint fill up a little bit. we can finish this conversation, because this is an important conversation, because this really, because I personally didn't think that was gonna be your answer, M. Dot. I didn't think that was gonna be your answer. But trying to wait till a couple people get up in this joint so we can
my answer is jump you got a racist member, you jump right in. Hell yeah, fuck that.
Anybody's out there, can y'all hear us pretty good?
All they gonna preach is fucking hate. You shouldn't even preach hate.
What's that?
All they're gonna do is preach hate. You shouldn't be preaching no fucking hate.
Preach hate.
If you saying a person's racist and you saying they're gonna still be around them and support them, fuck that. You don't be around them motherfuckers. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. Right. But now we're judging them so far. We're judging them so far off of their actual interaction, more or less the interaction of those around them.
All right, so
you can't say that. Hold them accountable for being racist, because
hold up, Mac. Hold up. Let me get. So the question for Ox is, does your family affiliation matter how you're perceived to the world? So the example was, if you have a racist family member, how do you settle that, Ox?
So, the way I see it is that, could someone, how do you categorize or quantify racism? I think it's degrees of separation, because clearly someone can be an outright racist, but then you also have those who are racist by association and things of that nature. So, like my example, if you have a bro that is 100% rocking with you, never showed a racist bone in his ever body, but his great grandfather is currently still a KKK member, and he periodically drops his 75-year-old grandfather. He drops him off at rallies, but he's not a member. He doesn't support it, but he supports and loves his grandfather. He still brings his kids around his grandfather to be at functions and babysitting, things of that nature. But knowing his grandfather is a KKK member, how do you treat that brother?
Okay, so how do you treat that brother?
Me personally, yeah. I have to take away the fact that it's not him. I cannot use, his, I guess, lack of judgment, in my opinion, and oust him out of something that he's never shown me to be towards me or anyone that looks like me.
Okay. M. Dot, same question. There's a bro that's rocking out with you, in any other way has shown that he's a bro, but he's white, and he has a grandfather, a family member that's in the Klan. How do you deal with that bro? How do you look at that bro?
I'm gonna ask that bro, what is his actual affiliation with that racist person? Because if that person is racist, why he want to be around him? If he support anything that racist person do, I gotta question his methods, because you should not want to associate yourself with anybody in that form of fashion, because at some point they're going to pollute or preach whatever to you, and it's like you're supporting a criminal almost. Like, damn, if you know somebody's a fucking thief, you gonna keep supporting a thief? Fuck no. You need to dissociate with that shit.
Alright. Your turn, Mac 11.
Right,
family member, you know the question. Family member is you got a bro, he's white. Family member, grandpop is a racist KKK member. How do you settle that?
So, for me, I'm gonna just go by the tangible evidence that you can see, right? This is actual factuals. Right now, there are KKK members, KKK leaders out here with mixed children. So just based off of that alone, you can't really hold somebody accountable for what their family members is involved in. You got KKK members who got daughters who are having children by black men, and vice versa. Sons that are having white sons that are having children by black women. So that's just the evidence behind it right there. You can't really put no skin color to love, and you can't really put no accountability to somebody else's actions.
I beg a difference because if what research shows us, you gotta be purity in whatever if you plan on being a part of that. And if you do have those racism, mixed races in your situation going on, they'll make sure you dissociate yourself with that. If I'm not mistaken, they don't let you sit there and be a part of that, and you got that mixed races going on in your household.
I mean, I think it depends on how some people carry it. Like some people like I dated a Spanish chick once a long time ago. I was in college and I wasn't allowed in her house because her dad was racist, right? So, but I mean, some people are like, they don't want to disown a kid, right? So I think it's a case by case, but there are situations where people don't necessarily bang with black people, but they'll tolerate it. But I don't know. I mean, now I'm saying that if somebody is true to being racist, then they probably would like kind of like disown you.
Exactly.
Like if they was really true, like a true racist, they're probably gonna disown you, like child or not. They probably have to disown you. And I probably would. I mean, it would be hard to disown a parent, but I probably would disown a parent if that parent was racist. How much, especially if you have a mixed child, like how could you bring your parent around your mixed child, or your husband or wife that's black? Like that wouldn't even be an enjoyable experience for them.
So now the question is, which one is stronger, race or love? Which one is stronger? Because that's what we're really talking about. That's what it boils down to. If it's my grandfather, I say I'm a white man, it's my great grandfather. But I love him to death. He loves me to death. He loves my children to death. But his personal preference and choice in life is to dislike black people for whatever his fucking reasons are. Am I supposed to now lose the love for my grandfather because that's who he chose to be in life?
I mean, I get that.
Well, one thing is you're not born racist. You're a tort hate.
Does he really? If he's a racist, does he really love that child, or is he just tolerating? Wait. He's just tolerating the white side of the black side of that child.
But the thing,
does he really love?
The thing is though, you're not
that child. That's
debatable. That's debatable.
But you're not born racist. You're a tort hate. You're taught that. That's something in your mind that you were preached to and told this is the way to be.
I agree.
So therefore, you are choosing to continue that.
I agree.
So now, have you seen different examples of racist people who, at some point in their life, be like, "Damn, I can't be racist because my child had a mixed child or whatever." They want to accept it and this is not become racist. I mean, no longer be racist, or they will continue and disown that person. That's the only option.
I feel like that. I feel like it's a tightrope, and I feel like you get to pick and choose. You can either go with the consensus that says that if someone's racist, you should avoid them, especially if there's some areas or gray voids in your life where it kind of crosses lines with them. But in the same token, love is supposed to be stronger than anything. And if you love your siblings or your family members, are you supposed to just cast them aside because of the preference that they do? If they're not bringing any harm to you and they still show you the same exact love, but they happen to have a disdain for whatever they have a disdain for, are you supposed to now banish them as if they ever harmed you?
I have a scenario for you, right? Would you welcome the love of someone in your family that was a child molester?
No.
Damn. I mean, love is subjective.
But wait. Now, now that's a little harsh because You know,
wait, harsher than
because we're
rape-
not,
harsher than racist.
no, I'm saying this because, no, the child molester is way harsher. We're now talking about physically causing pain. Being a racist is not,
lynch people.
yes,
and
but that's, those are the extensions
Racist, that's
of how
psychological.
you can be a racist. You don't have to physically harm no one and be a racist.
No, but let me tell you.
Don't,
Your words-
you don't get to choose how,
Words hurt.
you can't just simplify racism now.
Words hurt, don't they?
Hey, look, let me,
you didn't wait. He didn't answer the question. So
No, I could not. No, I'm sorry, I could
right.
not.
What I get the point that I'm trying to make is
I would
that
love it from
if
afar
you're-
at best.
if you are a principled individual,
Yes.
then yes, somebody's background, their actions, their attitudes, their demeanors about certain things bother you if you are a principled person, even family.
So,
Even family,
okay.
if you're a principled person. Now, if you're not principled, then yeah, you will accept that. But this all kind of segue from being in a Republican Party that's full of known racists. To be around someone that is a known racist, to me means that you're either not principled, you're not principled, and you are willing to put aside what you know is right or wrong.
You know what?
In my opinion, that's what I see. That would be the same thing with a child molester.
But
if you would still associate with that person to whatever degree, I don't feel like you are a principled person.
I got one for you, and this is more or less not even the whole white black thing, because it's hard to always try to figure out the lanes between them two. But let's talk about ourselves and black people being racist to other races, right? So you have a brother, a blood brother, that hates and despises Hispanics. Puerto Ricans, to be specific, hates and despises them, right? I mean, calls them every name, spit everything under the book, would gladly bust one of them in the fucking face if it came down to it, because that's how much he hates them. And so happens that your blood brother winds up getting into a situation with some Puerto Ricans, and now they're attacking him. But you know that it was him who basically instigated and created that energy for them to want to harm him. He called them everything under the book, threw bottles at him, so on and so forth. Do you now disassociate yourself with your blood brother in that moment while he's in physical harm's way because he's a racist?
I mean, I don't really understand the question. But
I do.
I got the question.
All right,
So,
I'm gonna let Mac answer.
so basically, what he's saying is that being as though your brother supports a certain view and is dedicated to that view that you disagree with, would you abandon him basically in his moment of need if he needed you? So my answer would be, I couldn't abandon my brother in that moment, but it definitely would be an issue going forward. If I'm on the scene, and no matter how much I agree or disagree with him in that moment, I wouldn't voice my opinion to either side. But if it got to the point where somebody is trying to bring harm to him, then I would definitely back my brother in that situation, not supporting his views, but just supporting the fact that, I want to make sure that my brother is safe. But how do you tell the difference?
How does anybody from the outside know that you were supporting your brother as him being your brother, or unless you're supporting a racist?
No, I got you. So that's where perception comes into play. Everybody always says perception is everything, but in that moment, you're going to be perceived as if you're supporting him. But this is where you got to be strong-minded at, where you can't allow the opinions of other people to really affect your judgment and affect your principles. At the end of the day, that's your brother. Right. So you can't allow nothing to happen to him. And that's just the bottom line.
I agree.
But going forward, though, after y'all get out of that situation, it's definitely gonna have to be some sort of understanding between y'all two. I know I wouldn't cut him off, but I definitely would not be as social with him.
Okay,
so wait. So my answer to that is
Again, it all boils down to
I feel like you should.
you're cutting
I
them
feel
off.
like if you have the ability to help somebody, you can you can grapple with their whatever afterwards.
Yeah.
But at that moment, at that moment, that's my brother.
Yeah.
At that moment. I mean, so we can grapple with your views on
Right.
people after that. But at that moment, but that would be the same way if I saw a chick getting beat down. I would try to help her before I'm sitting there worried about what's in her heart. I would try to help her. So that's you're talking about somebody being harmed.
So my thing is, so what's the difference if it's a white bro and his grandfather is a KKK member? The bottom line is he still loves and supports his grandfather as him being, as that person being his grandfather.
I mean, but
Nonetheless, what's the difference?
Well, the difference in the question is you asked about
Because I decided to put harm in,
Yeah,
I put physical harm in the
Like,
equation.
that's different.
That's unfair. Why?
If you
Because
don't
at the
agree
end of
with
the day, they earned whatever was coming their way. Am I right? They're a racist.
if you don't agree
but
with his
nobody
views,
deserves to be physically harmed. Nobody deserves to be
so
physically harmed just because they got a difference of opinion.
but we say death to the KKK.
I mean, listen, it is death to the KKK.
Yeah,
So I'm
it is
confused.
KKK.
I mean, listen.
But we ain't out there killing them though.
Right.
Oh, if we could, we would.
Listen, man.
I wouldn't.
That's a good ass question.
Okay,
That's a good ass question.
But I'm gonna tell you this though:
Listen,
if a
that would be-
KKK member roll up at my front door like they want to do something, it's gonna be death.
Oh, so
Yeah,
that's guaranteed.
So basically, the racist has to provoke you now.
Listen, that's
I ain't
like
kill
no,
nobody.
That's like
That shit lie.
they bring children to Klan rally. So if a child is being harmed, I'm not gonna be like this child is in the Klan. I'm not because we're talking about somebody being harmed. Harm is a little different.
Why?
But you're talking about supporting someone is different than helping someone.
How? I mean, when I say support, I mean, you're still my grandfather. I still have love for you. I still want to be around you.
why would you want to be around somebody that's
Because they're still my grandfather.
I would have a heart.
They're still my grandfather.
Why you want to be around somebody that's a treated hate?
I would have a heart.
To my knowledge, he's never harmed anybody.
I would have. I mean, first off, your views are harmful. So your views are harmful.
Okay, so what's that?
You have to physically
Yes.
harm somebody to cause harm. You don't.
Okay, so he's
don't.
caused. So
I don't know, but I know that.
But you know for a fact your brother was physically causing harm.
I mean,
but you were still protecting.
You giving it a
No, what I know, what it no, what it had
ridiculous scenario.
no. What happens is that the fact of the matter is that we're quick to go ahead and decide to go completely against what we decide that we are completely against. And then if it's something that is in the slightest gray, especially when it comes to our actual connections, family ties wise, it's all, especially if it comes to anything with physical fighting or any kind of physical harm, we'll decide to say it's no longer valid. You're not a racist anymore because you're my brother now.
I'm gonna say not necessarily. Like, listen, I gave the example of a child molester. Right, so not necessarily would you put that aside, but there are some people that are principled in what they believe that will not associate with a family member. So that family member could be getting ran down on,
and they won't budge, right? They wouldn't budge.
But if you are that principled, then
how would you look at him?
You wouldn't.
How would you view him?
If you was that principled.
If I'm your brother, we're blood brothers, and I'm a racist, and you know I'm a racist, and you decide to stand on your principles of not supporting anybody that's a racist, whether it's white versus black or me being a black man hating Puerto Ricans or Asians or whatever the case may be, and I'm in physical harm, would you stand on your principles and let me be harmed?
I mean, listen. If my principles,
knowing that I've harmed other people from my racism,
if my principles was that ingrained, no. I mean, I would let whatever happen to you. Because listen, if my principles was that ingrained, we probably don't even have a working relationship. Like, we don't have a working relationship.
So yet again, it all goes back to what I said. Well, it all goes back to
because black people love to give black people passes. Black people love to give black people passes. You sure? We love to look at. We'll point out every other racist in the room besides ourselves.
So, but it all goes back to are you disassociating yourself with that person?
I think that any type of way that black people view anything, it's all just a product of white supremacy, man. Like, we don't really understand how to view ourselves. we have came up in a world that's dominated by whiteness. So we are taught to reject our blackness from day one. We are taught to reject our blackness. So if I see a black person that is air quote racist, it's because unfortunately we are mimicking the behavior of our oppressor. Like we just are.
So that gives us a pass then.
No, there's no past. There's no past. But there are reasons. There are reasons for that. There's reasons why fucking black people down south eat chitlins. It's a fucking reason. I could be like, yo, that's I can't see why I can never eat a chitlin. But it's reasons why. Because that's the shit that we was given when we were slaves. Like so we're not. So you're not. Nobody's saying that we accepting these things. But to understand where this comes from. Like to understand where this comes from, like the conversation that we had about beating your kids, right? Like personally, I feel like that's some leftover slave shit. Like there's no evidence that when we was in Africa that we beat kids. There's no evidence of that. There's not even evidence of that today, right? So, but in order to keep slaves in line, what do you have to do? You have to psychologically create fear and psychologically create torture that's associated with that fear, right? There's only one way to do that, and that's by beating. And why would you beat a slave? Because they are not compliant to your commands. So to me, that's leftover slave shit. That's leftover slave shit. You might consider that, and I know you do. You might consider that just normal discipline and normal chastising of a child. I feel like that's leftover slave shit.
I mean, I'm not going to jump into that topic as much because that's not what we're
into it.
Only reason why
That's a hot one. Like personally, I don't condone in my household with me and my kid. And obviously there's a dynamic because I'm a man and she's a girl. But I think that size dynamic is period with all adults, right? Because there's a size advantage of an adult versus a child. Doesn't matter if it's male or female. Male is just a much larger size advantage. But so I don't believe in beating my kid. I think that you can relay messages without it being violent. I believe that children have the ability to interpret messages the same way adults have the ability to interpret messages without it being violent. I wouldn't condone, and I asked you this question earlier. You wouldn't condone you wouldn't control a man beating your daughter if she was married, beating your daughter because she didn't comply with whatever his issue was. There's a way, and it might.
That's two different things. You're giving a child the same fucking value or requirements as an adult. The child does not have the same requirements or whatever that an adult has.
I mean, a child is
a child. A child is a child. According to the fucking law.
You can be abusive to a child the same way you can be abusive to an adult.
According to the law, a child is not held to the same standard as an adult is.
The words that you're using got different definitions. Like if you say chastising, that means one thing.
Yeah.
If you say beating, that's a different thing. Yeah. Abuse is something over the top. Right. So I think that if you
wait. Let's
dissect that.
Let's stop right there.
Let's unpack that.
How do you clearly define each one? Now, as far as I know, chastising does not have to involve violence, right?
But it doesn't have to not involve.
Right. But to me, chastising is verbally expressing your disagreement with something, your disappointment in something, right? That's chastising. A whooping can be abused. Most abusers don't think they're abusing people. Like no abuser, even of a child, they don't think that they're abusing a child. So how do you thread that needle between a whooping and abuse?
Well, when we talking about chastising, there's two different versions of it. It's verbal chastising, and then it's physical chastising. When you're talking about abuse, the law itself breaks down and defines what abuse is. If you're whooping a child to the point where you're leaving bruises and like injuries, stuff like that, that's considered to be abuse. But if you chastising somebody, You know, I mean, you can even go over the top with verbal abuse. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
gonna go there next. Wait,
I already know you was about to. I knew you was about to hit me with that one. But I mean, this
I want
is
to stop you. I want to stop you
this
right
is
here.
something that
Yeah.
that's in layers. The
Right.
whole topic is in
Right.
layers.
So I want to stop you right there because you said abuse is something that leaves some type of mark, right?
Yeah.
So we all of our certain age, we've all got whoopings or whatever.
Right.
So and I'm sure within one of those whippings we had a mark. Was that abuse? Like based off of your definition? Would that be abuse? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's
No, it's
like
not
it's
my
so,
definition. It's the law.
Oh, okay. Well,
According to the law, yeah.
According to the law,
it would be considered abuse. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you thread that needle between a whooping and an abuse? I don't really think you can.
So I'm
Because wait, a woman could maybe hit a child. A woman can hit a child the same exact way a man hits a child with the same exact force, right? But I guarantee you, if two people looking at that, they might be like she's whooping that kid and he's abusing that child. It's a topic that is so subjective. It's subjective.
very,
So
very.
you could pop a child, right, and not leave a mark, or you could smack a child and knock him to the floor. That's two total different things. You know what I'm saying? So I think that example is probably the best example that I can give in the difference of the two. You know what I mean? Because you could physically discipline your child without actually going over the top. You know what I mean?
So, Bull, you don't believe in discipline. You don't believe in physical. You don't believe in
I
weapons.
got you, but who determines what over the top is?
But
That's what the law is.
So,
if you
get to the point
walk
where the
up,
law is involved.
if anybody walk up to their child and they for example, take a slap, right? I'm not going to use an example of a belt because that's too obvious.
Obvious. I was
But
going to
now,
go there too.
if you take a slap, right, you can smack a child and not leave a single mark on their face, right? But you can smack a child one time and get your point across. But now, if you smack a child and then smack a child and then smack a child, then that's where the line starts getting questioned. You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
Or you can smack a child once and actually give them a concussion. That's over the top. You know what I mean?
So I got this question is specifically for M. Dot. I want him to answer this. So Dot, explain to me what's the difference between hitting a child and hitting your spouse?
Hitting your spouse. What do you mean?
Listen, we're talking about if two people are doing the same thing, they're not the same thing, but something that you don't approve of.
A child's not held to the same standard as an adult. That's legal by the law.
Okay, pause right there. So a child is not held to the same standards as an adult. So would you agree that an adult has the ability to comprehend instructions better than a child?
They should.
Right. So they should probably give a child much more leeway than you give an adult, right? Because a child does not have the ability to reason like an adult does.
True, but a child is still they're not fully developed in their mental stage, and you are teaching them. An adult should already have that mental capacity to understand what's right and what's wrong. So you shouldn't put your hands on an adult without the repercussions of getting hit back or whatever. Now, I ain't saying go ahead and whoop your child ass and beat him to death, but disciplining your child for a behavior that's required of that, then I'm okay with that.
Why does that discipline? Why does that discipline have to be physical? I mean, the point.
Okay, so I give you an example.
Let me finish the question. The point I'm getting at is you can if you can relay something to an adult without it being physical.
It's called progression.
Why can't you relay something to a child without being physical?
Well, it's called progressive discipline because yes, you're going to talk to them at first. You don't just talk them back and beat them. It's progressive. If you're talking to them and they're still not listening, then it's levels to it. You talk and then it's not working. Then you go a little bit further. You might talk again, and then the third one might be an ass whooping. But that's just the way it goes. Like you're going to keep talking to somebody and they going to keep doing the same thing.
You would give a woman much more leeway to not say do something that you may have mentioned. You would give a woman much more leeway than a child.
woman. I don't understand or follow what you're saying. That I'm giving a woman more leeway than a
I'm
child.
Let's be a little more specific.
I'm saying you're saying that you would. All right.
You're saying you can't sit there and compare the two.
Would you beat a woman for not listening to you?
No,
You wouldn't. All right. So, but you would beat a child.
I'm not beating the child. I'm talking to him. I'm not beating a child for not listening. I'm beating a child for doing something that they know and they was already talked to about it. Like a child, I'm responsible for that child. I'm not responsible for an adult. At the end of the day, right now, if your child don't go to school, who's held responsible for that child? You or that child?
I mean, that's a rhetorical question.
No, it's not rhetorical. It's an answer to it.
No, of course.
So you're held responsible for this person. You're not held responsible for the other adult. That's the difference.
Let me ask you this, right? So you got a child, right? Let's say your child's like, because typically is when is when this question really comes into play. So you got a young teenage child, right? And the mother asks the child to do something specific, whether it's a chore or to run an errand or whatever. And that child says, fuck no, I'm not doing shit. Do it yourself, right? Or you got a child that the mother asked them to do something and they just forgot to do it because they were tied up doing whatever. You see what I mean? And in that scenario, would it be feasible to imply physical discipline in one versus the other?
I mean,
Talk both of them first.
In my opinion, there's never any need for physical violence. I think that the rules that we have, that the rules that we deal with each other as adults, I think those are the rules that we should deal with our children. I feel like we all would agree that as adults that we don't just we wouldn't just smack a chick. I mean,
Can I tag in on this?
go ahead, tag in on it.
And me and you already talked about this before, Bullet, and the simplest concept of physical disciplining a child is a 1+1 thing that most humans have the ability to comprehend, even at the smallest of ages, is that cause and effect. I told you not to do this. In order for you to have this ingrained in you on some level, pain is the greatest teacher that we all know. So, in order for me to get you to understand how this is wrong for you to do, I need to enact some type of embedded memory inside of you of this moment. That's where the disciplining concept comes from as far as being physical. You need that 1+1 concept. Now, don't get me wrong. I said it correctly. Progression. Yes, our parents may have disciplined us physically, but most of the time, and I want to say 90%, maybe more closer to 80, some level of communication of what was being done. Even during the actual beating, if we all can recollect and we laugh at this with jokes, but our parents would say, didn't I tell you not to do X, Y, and Z? That may seem like not being communicative, but it is, because you're hearing what they're saying and you're feeling the pain at the same time. Most of the time, that's enough to make you, and all physical discipline really is that one muscle memory to make you think twice before you do something again. It doesn't mean that it's a complete deterrent, but it's a good chance that you're going to think twice. And in that moment of clarity, when you think twice, it may stop you from going back down that same road. Now, I will say this as well. We think that physical discipline only has to come from a physical outright nature, which is more of a hand-to-hand or weaponry type concept. No, I can enact the same physical discipline with some level of understanding without ever touching my child. So I can have my child squat against a wall and put their hands up and say, sit there, and repeat the same message. I told you about school. I told you about this. Now you're going to sit on this wall for 30 minutes and you better not drop. And if you fall down, you're going to do it all over again. Now that same physical pain has been embedded in them because
but that's not violent.
no, but that's the
not violent.
but see wait.
I mean,
but that's the problem though.
It's not violent. But that's like that would be like having to write on the chalkboard. I'll do my homework.
But no, but
that's physical.
But that's
it's not violent.
But that's the problem though. We decided to take hand-to-hand combat as
being a tool,
as a violent thing. No, it's still giving out some level of physical interaction, hopefully being some type of strenuous or painful moment connected and learned. That's the problem, so automatically, because I decided to hit you, now all of a sudden I am violently abusing you in some way. No,
Okay.
I'm still just giving you a lesson with physical interaction, supporting whatever lesson or information that I'm trying to tell you. And unfortunately, it's needed because without having something else to go off of, who's to say that someone's going to follow someone's words and words alone? It's been shown. Now, obviously, the other variation isn't 100% proven either. But if you tell me this right now, that you can't remember every time you've hurt yourself, we're talking about going back to your single-digit years. You can remember when you seriously hurt yourself because the pain is embedded inside you and made that memory stick out. And for the concept of teaching a child right from wrong, cause and effect, that one coupled with the right information and giving explanation and I guess in contrast to it, it's the perfect pairing. But you have to deliver it the right way.
I mean,
Look,
that right there is the hardest thing for me to settle is whether or not, first of all, whether or not that message is actually being delivered properly, right? Whether or not parents who, I'm a parent, we all are fucking impatient, right? We impatient, and we're more impatient with our kids than we are with anybody else. We more impatient. Do parents more often than not have the ability to deliver that message that threads that needle that you're talking about? I believe it. I hear what you say in concept and in theory, but I don't know how much of that is applied.
Can I add this real quick?
Go ahead, you got it.
So
And then I'm gonna let y'all go so we can go to the gas station.
This is what we know, right?